Hello again. Thank you for joining me on another video on the 7 habits of highly effective people. I'm the real Jason Duncan, and this is Results Through Integrity. Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel or following me on LinkedIn or connecting with me on Instagram. Either way, I'm happy that you're here and that I'm able to help you. This year in 2020, I've been going through the 7 habits of highly effective people with Stephen Covey, specifically going through the card deck that this Covey group created to help people go through an activity per week on the 7 habits. We're actually dealing, in week number 41 right now, we're dealing with Synergize, which is habit number 6. The activity card for this week is really good, and I want to dig into this maybe a little bit deeper than I typically do, so buckle up and let's go. All right, on the front of the card it says here to seek third alternatives. Now in the book it talks a lot about third alternatives and how it relates to the concept of synergy, or the concept of synergizing with other people. So, as always, on the front of the card, it gives a few things for us to consider. And it says this: observe an upcoming meeting and identify if synergy is or isn't occurring. So what we're getting at here is that you're going to have a meeting sometime this week. I release these videos on Mondays or Tuesdays, so I'm not sure which day you're watching this, but sometime this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, you're going to be sitting in a meeting. You may or may not be leading the meeting. It doesn't matter. What I want you to do is observe the meeting. Just pretend that you're an outside participant watching it happen and ask yourself, is synergy occurring? And remember, synergy is where we're working together to find something better than we would have found on our own. All too frequently, what we see happen in a lot of business meetings is that one person is speaking and he or she is giving his or her opinion without respect to anyone else's wisdom, energy, time, effort, knowledge, experience, and they're not synergizing with anybody else in the room. And then the next person speaks and he or she does the same thing. So this week I want you to spend some time observing in that meeting if synergy is or isn't occurring, because once you're aware of what it looks and feels like, you're able to participate in it much better. It continues to say here on the front of the card, think of a problem that would benefit from synergy and use it to seek a third alternative. Now on the back of the card it actually explains a little bit more about what a third alternative is, so stick with me. When you flip the card over, the ask yourself question says this: when am I likely to settle for compromise? When do I experience synergy? And what's the difference? You see, part of the things that I love about the 7 habits of highly effective people, especially on the concept of habit 6 of synergizing, of using synergy to solve problems, it's that synergy isn't a win-lose situation. Synergy isn't a compromise. Synergy leads to a third alternative. In other words, it's leading to something that you wouldn't have come up on your own. It's something that they wouldn't have come up with on their own. It was only thought of because you combined each other's energy, expertise, wisdom, experience, etc. It goes on to say here, synergy depends on a willingness to seek a third alternative. More than just my way or your way, it's a higher, better way. It's something that neither of us would have come up with on our own. Ever since I read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I'm really becoming to grow disoriented and disenfranchised and completely disgusted at times with the concept of compromise. Now, if I tell someone that out of context, they're going to think that I'm a bully and that it's always my way or the highway, when in fact that's not it at all. You see, compromise leads really to effective bullying, and whoever's the most effective bully gets his or her way, and they try to compromise just enough so that the other person doesn't feel like they lost all too badly, and everybody's willing to go along with it. But in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey talks about how we can seek a third alternative. You know, there's your way, there's his or her way, but then there's a third alternative that's not compromise. It's actually a way that neither of you would have thought of on your own. That's what you should be seeking. And if you're going to be an effective professional, an executive, or an entrepreneur, you really need to understand the concept of synergy. It's not just a cliche, it is a real thing. Seek a third alternative. The quote of this week comes from Stephen Covey, and he says this: "What is synergy? Simply defined, it means that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Synergy means that 1 + 1 may equal 10 or 100 or even 1,000. If you do this right, and if you really synergize and you really seek third alternatives, there is no limit to what you can accomplish." Good luck with that, and until next time, remember, Jesus is King.